Hello and welcome to the Apex Floor Arts YouTube channel. My name is Stewart, and today we're going to be going over some transitions with double staffs. So we're going to be working with a couple different patterns today. So the patterns that we're going to be working with, we're going to work with some split time 4-petal flowers. We're going to work with some opposite direction, same time 4-petal flowers. These isolation versus 4-petal hybrids. We're also going to be dealing with some of these isolation versus anti-spin hybrids. And I have a video on these, some of these. I'll put the link in the description to the hybrids video. That's also part of this playlist. And then the last one that we're going to work with are these isolation versus anti-spins. So when I do a lot of my double staff spinning, I do a lot of like thumbs pointed inward. So we'll start with a transition from the 4-petal flowers like this to the same time opposite direction 4-petal flowers. So there's two different transition points that you can do from there that I like to use. So if you're going thumbs inwards, you're going to do this anti-spin. You're going to do this anti-spin, so now you're opposite from where you started. And then when you get here, instead of unwinding like this, what you're going to want to do is you're going to take these two blue points in the middle, and you're going to push them down like that. Okay, so when you do that, I have my left in front of my right, and my right is under my left. So when I push it down, this purple end, this outside point from my right hand, it's going to come behind and under my left arm like that. Okay, so that transition is going to look like this. So you're boom, 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 and then you push down. And then when you're here, you can either continue through that 4-petal, or you can break it back into split time. Like that. All right, so the next one that we're going to work on is we're going to go from a 4-petal flower, the same time opposite direction. We're going to go from here, and then what we're going to go is we're going to go to that isolation versus 4-petal. So like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start both thumbs up, okay, and we're going to go out to these outside petals. We're going to go up, and then we're going to cross. And then when we're at this point, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to isolate that down. And I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to anti-spin that down. So they're both going to meet at this bottom point down here. Okay, so you're going to be here. All right, and then I'm just going to continue that isolation up with my right hand, and I'm going to anti-spin out with my left. And then we're going to continue that up. So I'm going to isolate up with my right and anti-spin up with my left. And then one more time here. And then we're pretty much back to where we started. So if you wanted to, you could, push back down again and get into these. And just like how we just went over, when you're crossed like this, you can go out to these. So now you have, you can link 3 different tricks together. So you have these split time flowers to these ones to these ones. Now, another transition that we're going to work on, these split time flowers to these hybrids. So that one's a pretty easy one, just because you pretty much start both of those. I start both of those at least with both thumbs inwards. So if I were to isolate down, if I were to start this hybrid where you isolate down and anti-spin up, which again, I do have a tutorial in the double staff playlist on hybrids. It's included in that video. So we're going to be going from here. And then when you have your thumbs inward like that, at either point when they're straight up and down like this, you can switch it to a 4-petal flower. Like that. So now we have 4 different tricks that we can link together. So we have these ones, and then we're going to go to split time 4-petal, then we're going to go to same time opposite direction 4-petal, and then when we get here, now we're going to switch to the isolation. So you can play around with different transition points from those. Another one, so if you're doing the split time 4-petal flowers like this, when you get out to this point, this is another transition point. So instead of having your arms crossed, it's pretty much the same thing except they're uncrossed. They're on these outside petals uncrossed. So just like how when we had our arms crossed like this and we push down, you can do that same thing. You push down from there and then get to crossed. Or you could take these and you can go to that isolation versus 4-petal. And pretty much any of those isolation versus 4-petal transition points, you can also use those to do these alternating isolation versus 4-petal, these ones. So, you know, we can go from split time 4-petal to these, and then from here you can just switch back and forth, or if you want you could go to these 4 petals into these isolation versus anti-spins into these same time opposite direction 4-petal flowers. So there's all kinds of transition points. It's really based off of where your hand placement is. And if you just kind of pause at each point in that petal and you think about, okay, I know these tricks, and at what point in that trick is my hand going to match up with where I want to transition from. So you can play around with those. Some of those transitions, you know, you can use those as a top petal transition instead of these outside petals. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed that video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out all the other content on the channel. There's a bunch of other artists covering different props, along with our social media. All the links are down below, along with my personal Instagram for all kinds of poi and double stab content.